Welcome back, everybody. If you're new, my name's Nicholas and this is Investing Against the Grain. Now, normally I only upload videos on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. However, today GM had their investor day, so I figured, you know what? Let's just hop on here. Let's record this video because there are several articles that came out via Elektrec, and I want to address a lot of the stuff that came out from GM. And honestly, a lot of it is very reminiscent of Nikola in the way they're speaking. I'm not saying GM is Nikola or Lordstown or anything like that, but there are similarities, and I just want to call it out, and I just find it humorous. So in this episode, it's going to be very straightforward. I have no intention to edit much of this video, so it's going to be very raw, very stream of consciousness. We're just going to go through these three articles together and really uncover a little bit about what GM said, and really just said. They didn't show anything, and you'll get my 2 cents on it. So without further ado, do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell, and let's get into it. All right, so for this first article, this is again from Elektrec. The headline is GM wants to overtake Tesla as the EV leader in the US with new $30,000 electric crossover and more. So let's take a look at this. GM announced today that it plans to overtake Tesla as EV market leader in the US. In order to achieve that, the American automaker plans several new electric vehicles, including a new 30,000 electric crossover. Today, GM held its shareholder meetings and made several announcements, especially regarding their electrification plans. The headline making statement is that GM plans to take the leadership position in EV market shares in the US using money from its ICE sales. Okay, so this quote coming up is comical. Listen to this. GM plans to reach leadership in EV market shares in US while growing its profit from internal combustion engines vehicles. Okay, somebody please explain to me how that's such a diametrically opposed statement. You want to become the EV leader, you want to surpass Tesla while growing profits from your ICE division of the company, your internal combustion engine division of the company. This makes no sense. Listen, I hate to break it to you, GM, but if you even get remotely close to Tesla, you are going to be Osborneing yourself. For those of you who don't know what the Osborne Effect is, look it up. But essentially what's going to happen is if they try to go for the EV sector, they're going to cannibalize their profit engine, which is their ICE industry, their internal combustion vehicles. So that's how they make most of their revenues, through their ICE vehicles. So the idea here that they're going to grow that while surpassing Tesla, this is a joke. They are in, I don't know what they're thinking. All right, they are seriously dreaming of some fantasy world that doesn't exist. That's not going to happen. The ICE industry is not going to continue to grow, especially if you're losing. You only have so many vehicles you're going to sell, GM. Like, let's just get this straight. First of all, your sales have been declining. Same as Ford, same as Volkswagen, right? Sales are declining. We see that. It's very apparent. You can blame it on chips if you want, but, you know, the numbers don't lie. EVs use 3 to 5 times the amount of chips, and you guys aren't selling all EVs, so to blame it on chips, I don't know if that's really the cause of this. Not saying there isn't a chip issue, but it seems like there's something else missing here. Anyways, let's just move on. GM is currently second only to Tesla in the US regarding EV sales, but it's not a close second. Tesla has not just passed GM in EV sales, but it is already a few laps ahead. Okay, so that's such an understatement. They are more than a few laps. They are a continent away from GM. And not to mention, the only EV that GM's even selling, they're not selling anymore. They literally have a halt. They have a recall on all their batteries. They don't make them anymore. So they're going backwards, if anything. On top of that, GM is currently recalling. Okay, so as you can tell, I haven't really read all of these yet. On top of that, GM is currently recalling and buying back its own 2 electric vehicles in the market, the Bolt EV and the Bolt EUV, over a battery fire risk. But GM is betting on its new electric vehicles coming on its Ultium EV platform. Oh my goodness. This Ultium platform, and this is even supposed to be out until 2025. So, yeah, I don't know. GM's growth will be driven by the Ultium modular EV platform the company developed to launch a broad portfolio of highly desirable EVs using common, scalable components. The array of Ultium-powered EVs will include high-volume entries, including the Chevrolet crossover priced around $30,000, the Buick crossover, trucks from Chevrolet, GMC, and Hummer, as well as exquisitely crafted Cadillac EVs such as upcoming Lyriq and Celeste IQ, I think is the way it is, or Celestique. I think it's Celeste IQ. We already knew about all of these upcoming EVs except for the new Chevy crossover priced around $30K. That sounds like a next generation Bolt EV based on the Ultium platform. Mary Bara, who in my opinion has been smoking something before this event, Mary Bara, GM CEO and chair, commented on today's announcement. Okay, I already see where this is going. GM's vision of a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, and zero congestion has placed us ahead of much of the competition in electrification, software-enabled services, and autonomy. What? What? Let me read this again. GM's vision, that's it, their vision of a world with zero crashes, zero emissions, zero congestion has placed us ahead of much of the competition in electrification, software-enabled services, and autonomy. Visions don't get you anywhere. Like products, solutions, like things that are tangible. And how are you a leader? You're not even selling anything. This makes no sense. Our early investment in these growth trends have transformed GM from automaker to platform innovator. With customers at the center, GM will use its hardware and software platforms to innovate and improve their daily experience, leading everybody on the journey to an all-electric future. Hey, come on, level with me. Tell me this does not feel like Lordstown or Nikola. I'm not saying GM is Lordstown or Nikola. What I'm saying is stating claims like this, calling yourself a leader, calling yourself a platform innovator. This is what I want to just do a quick video like this, right? Just talking about this and just stream of consciousness, no edits or anything, because I mean, this is my raw opinion of this. This to me is fraud. You should not be allowed to say BS like this, just terms of marketing, like you actually have any tangible goods. This is such a disservice to any investors. Like, I don't understand why this is not considered market manipulation. This is false. Maybe if you were saying like in the future we're going to come out with XYZ, which will make us XYZ, but you're not. You're saying that you already are this thing that you're not. You're not a market leader in anything. You're not even a market leader in ICE vehicles. Let's be real here. All right? Toyota, Honda, Volkswagen, I mean, they're the leaders, really. Even within the truck industry, Ford's the leader there. You're not GM. What are you talking about? Ridiculous. All right. Stay tuned for more news coming out of GM shareholders. Okay, yeah. All right, so then here Elektrec gives their take. So that's the first article I want to talk about. Absolute joke. I mean, seriously, they want to take over Tesla as the EV leader. Like, why don't you just focus on making EVs to begin with instead of recalling the ones that you make or did make? I can't even keep going here. Let's continue on to the next article. Let me pull this one up. Okay. GM announces Ultra Cruise to enable true hands-free driving, taking over-the-air update approach. So I saw a couple YouTube videos today about this, and there was one demo of one of the vehicles kind of navigating through some traffic, some interesting what I would consider edge cases in San Fran. And yes, what they showed us, what they represented, did look quite impressive. Until, we learned that, well, maybe everyone knew this already, but they talked about how they have all these sensors, that they have a forward-facing LiDAR, that they have, HD mapped streets, and also I believe it's geofence. So once you start looking at that, it makes you just wonder, like, okay, so what they showed us at least in that clip of it navigating across some traffic, how real is that, right? Like how much manipulation did it take to get that footage so that they could show it at this investor conference? Again, I'm not saying that they're manipulating or fudging the data per se, but it's a little different to show us that and make it look like it's this amazing thing versus seeing all of the FSD beta testers who are just raw users out there doing their own using their own camera gear, doing their own filming, uploading to YouTube on their own, and showing what it looks like in real world, not just in a geofenced area, anywhere. Whether we're talking about in Chicago with Frenchie, whether we're talking about in Jacksonville with Chuck Cook, whether we're talking about Rob Maurer, Holmars out in California, it doesn't matter, right? These are raw footage, and the vehicles are doing the same things that we saw there, but again, across the world with no LiDAR, without any geofence area, and no HD maps. That's the difference, right? At the end of the day, you're trying to create AI, and you're not really creating AI if you're using HD maps, in my opinion. It's just, again, my opinion. Anyways, so let's get into this. GM announces Ultra Cruise to enable true hands-free driving. I think it's funny that they have to put true here. So as opposed to fake hands-free driving. Oh, I guess they must have watched the Sandy Monroe with Ford and their Blues Cruise video. Remember the sharp curve that I can't handle? All right. This is about GM, not about Ford. GM announced today its a new Ultra Cruise feature. Its new Ultra Cruise feature. That does not roll off the tongue. Which they believe will enable true hands-free driving on 95% of driving scenarios. Okay, so what did the 5% can't? Anyways, in the US and Canada. Interestingly, GM is taking a Tesla-like approach of enabling this capability over time through over-the-air software updates. I don't know if I would say it's Tesla-like, just because it's an over-the-air update. Like most updates in at least the IT software world are over the air. So, the auto industry is just stuck back in the 90s. That's the only issue there. So I don't think that makes it Tesla-like. Tesla's approach is a lot different. That's why I'm, distinguishing that. Ultra Cruise is not the successor of Super Cruise, but the next level reserved for premium vehicles. Again, not Tesla-like approach. Tesla-like approach, every car has the redundant full self-driving computers. Every Tesla vehicle has all the cameras needed, and every Tesla has the necessary sensors for proximity. So, and now obviously they don't need radar, and they don't have any LiDAR. GM wrote about the new product in a press release. Today, GM unveiled Ultra Cruise, an all-new advanced driver assistance technology and significant next step in the company's journey to enable its goal of zero crashes, zero emission, and zero congestion. Designed to ultimately enable hands-free driving in 95% of all driving scenarios, Ultra Cruise eventually can be used on every paved road in the US and Canada. Okay, let's back up here. So, let me see. Ultra Cruise is not, okay, so this is the next level for only premium vehicles. So, what was this? GM announces Ultra Cruise to enable, okay, so here it's interesting. Here they're saying, the headline at least, that they're enabling true hands-free driving. However, if we go down here to the quote, it says designed to ultimately enable hands-free driving 95%. So it's not there yet of all driving scenarios. Ultra Cruise eventually can be used on every paved road in the US and Canada. So eventually, ultimately, these words mean something. Words matter. And when you just so slightly say them, especially when these are quotes, right? People say these words, and the problem is whenever you're listening to someone, sometimes they say words and you can gloss over certain key words like that, like ultimately, approximately, eventually, right? In most scenarios, 95% of the time. In other words, we're not there. We don't have anything. This is our goal. This is where we want to get to. And that's what we're seeing here. It's much like the last article where they were talking about how they're a leader because they have this vision, yet they're not making any EVs right now. In fact, they're recalling every EV they've ever made. But they're a leader, right? So they're going backwards, but they're a leader and they're going to pass Tesla. Give me a break. This is ridiculous. I just really don't understand how some of this stuff isn't considered market manipulation. It really should be. It's so disingenuous for any GM stockholders, and not even them, but the actual people that work there, the people who probably have pensions and investments within It's wild how Tesla can be considered, or Elon can be considered, a manipulator for saying that he thinks the stock price is too high, or smoking a joint with Joe Rogan. Yet this doesn't matter at all, apparently. The system is going to work on more than 2 million miles of roads at launch in the United States and Canada. Again, contradiction. So here, Cruise eventually can be used on every paved road in the US and Canada. Here it says 2 million miles of roads. Pretty sure there's more than 2 million miles of roads in the United States. Now I get it. It says, at the start it's going to, but still. The new suite of advanced driver assist features is going to be powered with an updated suite of sensors. Ultra Cruise works through a combination of cameras, radars, and LiDAR, developing accurate 360-degree, three-dimensional statistical representation of the environment surrounding the vehicle with redundancies in critical areas. Ultra Cruise also incorporates an integrated LiDAR behind the windshield. So when I was watching it's like a 6-minute clip where it's not even the Cruise guy, some British guy, maybe from like North England, like Bristol area, I think maybe. But anyways, he was talking about what their strategy is, and he said their strategy is to do whatever it takes to first get it so where we don't need a human driving. So at all costs, whatever we have to do to make it so that we don't need a driver in the vehicle anymore. And I think this is kind of the Waymo approach as well. And so once we don't need a human to drive, no matter what it takes, no matter how much money, no matter if we have to geofence, no matter how many sensors we need, no matter how much LiDAR we need, radar, anything, right? Whatever we have to do, that's throw as much processing power as we need to, is what he said. Like, that's a direct quote. And then from there, once we don't need a driver, then we'll work backwards to reduce what we don't need. But the problem is, you're never going to get all of the needed edge cases. You can't think up all the edge cases, right? Even Tesla will never get to a point where they've covered all the edge cases, but they can get damn close. They'll get a lot closer than anyone else because they have all these extra miles. They have all these people driving. And they're sending everything back to the mothership, right? And eventually the mothership will be Dojo. But the problem here is they're going to get stuck in a local maximum. The same thing happened to Tesla. They got stuck in a local maximum, right? They got stuck to a point where 95% is what we're seeing up here, right? They want to get to, let me scroll back up here. They want to get to a 95%. That's what they'll hit. They'll hit that threshold, and they'll never be able to go beyond that. I think there's a quote where Elon, for a while, whenever they were working with Mobileye, he had said that the last mile will be the hardest mile to solve. And then after they departed from Mobileye, after they said, okay, we're hitting local maximums, we got to restart what we're doing, start from the ground up, he partnered up with Andrej Karpathy, who, if you don't know, he's one of the foremost leaders in neural networks in the world. They partnered up, they started from the ground up, and after that, Elon said during Battery Day, actually, there's a clear path to autonomous vehicles, to full self-driving. It's not a matter of if, just when, right? It's clear that it can happen. And then shortly after that is when the beta releases start to happen. All right, so I'm kind of ranting here now. So let's come down here. So we talked about this LiDAR, yeah. The automaker also confirmed that it has a 5-nanometer scalable compute architecture, future-proof through the Ultifi software platform. Yeah, this is something else they were talking about. I didn't see this in the YouTube video of their investor day, but I read this in another headline. Maybe it was in a CNBS article. But I don't even know how to say this. Ultifi. That's just not great branding for a company who wants to use all these marketing words to come up with this. They could have done a little better. Anyways, through the Ultify software platform and vehicle intelligence platform powering the ADAS suite. Here, GM lists some of the planned capabilities of the new Ultra Cruise. Provide users with information based on their experience with the system through all new dynamic display. React to permanent traffic control devices. Follow internal navigation routes. Maintain headway, follow speed limits. Support automatic and on-demand lane change. Support left and right turns. Support close object avoidance. Support parking and residential driveways. GM makes it clear that drivers are still going to be required to pay attention at all times. They're going to enforce this through their drive monitoring system. The automaker says the Ultra Cruise will launch on select models in 2023, with Cadillac being the first to introduce the technology. 2023. Okay, so in 2023, like, I just want to piece this together, right? Because this is what they don't tell you. So it's going to launch in select models in 2023. And if we scroll up here, the system is going to work on more than 2 million miles. Where was it? Designed to ultimately enable hands-free driving at 95%. So in 2023, it won't even be here. It won't even be at 95%. All right, think about that. Meanwhile, what's Tesla doing? And this is the company that's going to surpass Tesla? Like, I've already been out there saying that I thought FSD would be fully released by the end of 2021. And I don't want to say we're there yet, but I think it's a very strong possibility that by the end of this year, you can consider us full release. Even if it's just beta, we're at wide release. Imagine if just to see the iteration from beta 8 to where we are now with 10.2 coming up Friday. Just think of how far we've come in such a short amount of time. And that's only with 2,000 testers. Now imagine what happens when Tesla starts releasing the FSD beta based on safety scores to 1,000 new customers every single day. Think of how quickly and how powerful and how maddening, crazy improvements we will see with FSD. Meanwhile, in 2023, they'll just then be releasing this on select high-end vehicles. Right, so I don't know. This stuff's a joke to me. GM announces Ultra Cruise. All right. So let's look at this last article here. All right. GM announces reveal of Silverado and GMC Sierra E, so electric, at CES with four-wheel steering and glass roof. So here's the glass roof. So I think they make mention in here about the frunk, the hood of the truck, and how small it is. I think they call it out. I think that's just their rendering, so it's nothing really to think about there. GM announced today that they would reveal a full Silverado E at CES 2022 on January 5th in Las Vegas, where CEO Mary Bara, I think that's actually a better name, will deliver the keynote. But they did give us some tidbits in a live Q&A earlier today. Bara and President Mark Roos talked at length this morning about the upcoming electric pickup trucks. With plenty of swagger, they announced that GM plans to be a leader in the EV space. That was interesting. So they plan to be a leader in the EV space, but if I come over here, they want to overtake Tesla as EV leader. That kind of contradicts itself. Roos touted the 24-inch tire. All right, nobody cares about that. The crab walk, they say it'll be able to do that. Well, let's wait till we see the Hummer. GM also took a lot of time to tout the glass roof of the Silverado. Glass roofs have proven to be popular in Rivian R1T and Tesla Cybertruck reveals. The brand also confirmed that the Silverado electric pickup truck will feature an available segment-leading fixed glass roof for the retail model, offering expansive visibility. Okay, cool, whatever. It's a glass roof. It's what Tesla's been doing all along. I mean, this is nothing new, nothing crazy. They talk about the crab walk some more here, looks like. Okay. So Roos and Bara went down the list of opportunities for... Okay, so this is what's wild. So essentially by 2030, Mara is saying... Or wow, why do I keep calling her Mara? Mary Bara says that the revenue for GM will double to something like 250, 223, something like that billion. And this is pretty much how they plan on getting there, right? This is how they rationalize their future revenue to everybody who was at this investor day. Listen to this. Ultra Cruise coming in 2023. Ultra Cruise will cover 95% of driving situations, although we know that it won't be 95% by the time it comes out, right? We already saw that. Insurance. GM plans to disrupt the insurance business if Tesla and Rivian haven't already done so. So that's a Elektrec comment in there. But I think it's comical how GM thinks that they can just get into the space or just throw this into their evaluation for investors here. Like, first of all, just let's be pragmatic here. Nobody is better at getting through red tape and pushing others to get their work done faster than Elon Musk. Look at Giga Shanghai. Look at Giga Berlin. All right, just look at what Elon Musk has done just in general with all of his businesses. And you think that you are going to be able to get this done in every state or get insurance to be a big part of your business? If Tesla hasn't been able to get there yet, I don't think you are going to get there yet. So again, this to me this is my issue. This is why to me this stuff's like Nikola and like Lordstown, it's just a farce in my opinion. BrightDrop Fleet Division, which theoretically could also use some of these Silverados. I'm not sure what BrightDrop is. Again, this is my first time going through this, but it sounds like it might be some kind of delivery service. Either way, in order to get to that, it would imply that you have some type of autonomous robo-taxi system. And if Ultra Cruise is only at 95% by 2023, right, like when does that come in? Especially if you're factoring that into your price target for revenue target for 2030 that you're presenting to all these investors. It's just disingenuous, in my opinion. Okay, so then we have here GM Defense. So electric pickup trucks to the military. All right, well, I guess they're doing that too. Why not? Let's just throw it in there, right? Government is at least about 40% of most businesses out there. So whatever. Software platform. Assuming fleet management will be important here and will cross over with BrightDrop. So, okay, yeah. So it definitely sounds like BrightDrop is some kind of delivery service. And I guess they're throwing in here a robo-taxi evaluation as well, which is crazy because while Tesla talks about the future with robo-taxis and they talk about full self-driving beta with the goal to getting full self-driving, they don't actually put a price target for revenue in X date. Right? They have their goals of when they'll be able to reach certain milestones from an engineering perspective, but they don't tell you, hey, we're gonna be having 250 billion, and this is part of the revenue model in 2030. Right? They don't do that. If we continue here, GM is getting into locomotives, trains, and electric and fuel cell options. Why not? I'm surprised airplanes aren't in here. Fuel cell drivetrains for in-house external applications. Nikola, laugh loud. Their Ultium deal with Honda could theoretically also turn into a truck partnership, Honda Ridgeline. All right, so that's pretty much it here. So this is essentially, in none of the articles we looked at do they really cover this, but everything we just talked about there is part of this bigger thesis that GM announced today for all of their investors of, I think it was 250 billion in revenue by 2030, so essentially doubling their revenue. Don't quote me on those numbers. This is just going off the top of my head from a video I saw earlier today with Mary Bara. But if this is how you're getting there, I wouldn't believe it. All right, like my model, when I talk about Tesla and where I think they'll be with the stock price and all that, that's based on what is currently produced today and what's actually sold today. And the only difference between my model from 2021 to say 2024, 2025 is just the amount of vehicles they sold. So it's the same product. I'm not adding anything new, right? Maybe I add in Cybertruck by 2025, but it's not like I'm sitting there adding technologies that don't exist yet. So this is just where, I don't know. To me, I expected so much more from GM. I really thought they were going to talk about new products. I thought they were going to talk about how they're going to execute, how they're going to be more efficient, I thought they were talking about new manufacturing processes. I thought they were going to talk about where they are with the ultimate battery. I thought this was going to be more Tesla-like. Instead, this felt more like a marketing exercise. Clearly, they've been working on their marketing terms, their marketing pitch behind closed doors, and that's what we got to see today. That's what you're investing in. If you invest in GM, you're investing in their marketing team, which, hey, they got great buzzwords, right? Like we said, ultimately, eventually, gradually, 95%, right? All these things, we'll eventually get there. We're gonna overtake Tesla as the EV leader, even though we are buying back our current EVs because we don't make anymore because we have this huge battery defect. Oh, and by the way, this lithium battery that we keep talking about, raving about, yeah, it's scheduled to be ready in 2025. Scheduled. We don't know if it will be. That's the plan. So obviously, I can almost guarantee that'll get pushed back. This is this type of stuff where I really don't understand how you can call Elon Musk and Tesla market manipulators or people who are just doing stuff to manipulate the stock price, and this is not. I don't understand that at all. All right, and keep in mind, I know everyone thinks that Elon Musk is this crazy second richest man. Sometimes he's the richest man, depending on the current Tesla valuation, and that he's just this greedy billionaire. That's the furthest thing from the truth. He lives in a $50,000 house. He's never sold any of his Tesla shares, just options that he has to exercise for tax reasons. And the last thing he cares about is money. This is a guy who took everything he made from the sale of eBay and threw it all into SpaceX and Tesla. Like that's who this guy is. He just cares about his companies and innovating and growing and making the world a better place, making us a multiplanetary species. Like, he's not in it for the money. However, these people, I guarantee you they're in it for the money. I promise you. This is not about, they're only doing any of this because Tesla's eating their lunch. That is the only reason they're moving this way. Same with Volkswagen, same with Ford. And something I want you to think about. Let's pretend Volkswagen, Ford, and GM, all the stuff they're saying, all these magnificent plans, all these Tesla-like divisions they're going to get into, insurance, autonomous driving, electric battery, supercharging stations, all these things. Let's say that they do go after it. And let's say that they have a success rate of 75%. Where are they, right? If they are missing any one of those things, they're not going to be able to compete against Tesla. And here's the difference too. They're trying to do all of this in a compressed time span of 3 to 5 years, right? And in reality, it better be in 2 years because Tesla is moving ahead. Keep in mind, Tesla is moving faster than all of them, and they're the leader. Yet all these companies are trying to catch up in this short time frame. It's not going to happen. They don't have the talent, they don't have the engineers, and they don't have the time. Now, again, they're spread across all these different domains that they're trying to cover and trying to become experts and leaders in. Meanwhile, instead of being so spread thin, Tesla doesn't have to worry about that because Tesla has become dominant leader in all these different divisions, whether it's AI and autonomous driving, electric vehicles, battery, charging stations, insurance. They've become leaders over time. They didn't just do this in a crammed, condensed 2 to 3 years. They did this over 15, 10 years, right? This is the difference. And also, where will Tesla be by the time they catch up? By the time they catch up to Tesla in 2021, which, by the way, they haven't even caught up to Tesla 2018. By the time they catch up to Tesla in 2021, let's say it's 2025. Let's say that's when they catch up to them. Well, they'll be competing against Tesla from 2021, not Tesla of 2025. Like, this is the problem. This is the fundamental problem, and this is why it bothers me so much from an investor perspective, and why I do not think this is genuine, and I think this is manipulation. This is why I think this is no different than Nikola or Lordstown. To me, I categorize this in the same boat, and is it a coincidence that GM invested in both? I mean, think about it. You know, all right. Well, again, this was just me wanting to get on here as fast as I could because this all came out. I had some passionate thoughts about all of this, and I know I wouldn't be able to dedicate the needed time for this tomorrow because tomorrow is all about Tesla Investor Day. So tomorrow I'll be working on content for that. So I just want to get on here. Like I said, this is going to be very little edit, if any. And I just wanted to give my thoughts, you know, drink a cup of wine with all of you fine folks out there, and just give you my thoughts off the top of my head. So again, I appreciate all of you, especially if you stuck to the end. Do me a favor, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, ring that bell. I love you all. Peace.